to the plate. Not looking for casuals, looking for debate. Fluent versus chill versus everyone. Break it down till the best one wins. More fluent every time we talk. That's not ridiculous. Let us hear your thoughts, Walk.
The people want to know, was that the real bodies? Was that your real body, Fluent? Chill, we can believe. Chill, we can believe. We seen a little something.
That was maybe once upon a time. Once upon a time.
I got you.
Maybe in the future, that will be.
Hey,
I will be back to. I'm
will be very happy. Be very happy.
I can't even wear jeans right now. Let's just be honest. So I can't even wear jeans.
Yeah, even my dress pants make it all stretchy. These days you got to go with the stretchy shit.
I have. Listen, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. You Americans might not know this. Well, maybe you do. There's Lululemon. You guys have heard of Lululemon?
Of course, yeah. You're American too, by the way, Tone. You're just North American.
Yeah, fair enough. At Lululemon, they have these. They're jogging pants. They're sweatpants, but they have like a crease down the middle.
Pleated joggers.
It's a pleated jogger.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
I hope my boss isn't watching this. I will wear those with like a dress shirt and then like a sweater over, right? Like a you know what I mean? And you'll have no idea. You will have absolutely no clue that I'm wearing wearing jogging pants, and they are so comfortable. I can't wear them because there's no belt. So it's only if I wear like a sweater over top of it. So
the drawstring is for, Tone. That's the drawstring is
you got to tuck the drawstrings inside those.
Yes.
You would never know. You would never know. I have them in blue. I have them in black. I'm covered. I'm covered.
Oh, no, those are amazing pants.
Oh, you've seen them? Okay, yeah.
I have them. I have them too. Pleated joggers have been a thing now for a while. I love them. Like you say, you can get away with it. Unless it's not like too formal of an event, you can get away with like at work or whatever. Even like something I could tuck in the dress shirt, make it look nice, still get away with it too. So
I had no idea. So let's introduce, first of all, for those that don't know, my name is Tony. I'm Sports Fluent. This is Jermaine. He is Chilltown Hoops. We will normally have more than 2 judges, although for this week, Jalen Carter Music is one of our judges. Chris from All-American Hoops, All-American Hooper, is our other judge. We will invite you, the audience, if you want to be a judge, if you want to debate one of us, both of us, all of us, because this is Fluent versus Chill versus everyone. How it's going to work. The 2 judges have topics. We don't know what the topics are.
No idea.
I've been trying to get it out of them. I don't know. He doesn't know. They're going to tell us the topic. They're going to tell us which side of the debate we have to argue. So we don't even know anything. We will debate it. Here's where it gets interesting. They can tag in. I can tag out. Jay can tag out. If I'm like, I don't care about this, I'm out. Yeah. And we just, you know what, Jalen? It was your question. You debate it. We can tag right out. Or you can create a 1-on-2, 2-on-1, 4-on-1. Jalen can say, listen, me, Chris, and Chill are debating this versus Fluent. Or you want to come up from the crowd and you want to go Fluent and Chill versus all of y'all. We can do that. So it is, but I don't know what's going to happen. Let's be honest. So now I turn it over to my judges. You can intro, you can start with a topic, whatever. It's your show. We just the debaters.
All right, chat. All right, world. We're here with the 2 people the people want to see. Some say they're intelligent, some say they're not. We're going to figure out today, baby. We're going to figure out today. We'll see. First question. And I actually think no one's ever asked this question in YouTube debate history. Out of all the debate shows, this is one I don't think has been asked. All right. This will be an interesting one. All right. So in the Kobe versus Magic, which career gets impacted more if they got drafted to a worse team or stayed in a worse situation? So instead of the Lakers, let's say Kobe stayed with Charlotte, and let's say Magic, that year the year before he was drafted in 78, the Pacers were the worst team in the West, 31 wins. So Magic got drafted to the Pacers, and Kobe stayed with the Charlotte. Whose career takes the biggest hit? You got Chilltown, he's going to defend Magic. Fluent, you're going to defend Kobe. Let's make it happen. Fluent can start it off. Let's go.
All right. Wow. Picking my 2, I have Kobe as favorite players. I have Magic 1, Kobe 2. These are my two favorite. So this, I had this. I don't know if you saw my eyes light up when you brought this up. This is perfect. So Kobe stays in Charlotte, which means they do not trade. They do not Vlade Divac to Charlotte. So Kobe stays in the mid 90s. So he would have had like Glenn Rice. He would have had probably a Larry Johnson comes in soon after that. So I would say Kobe's career in the East, having to go up against the Bulls, I think his career gets affected less. I think he's okay. And here's why. Because he's going to be in a similar situation in Charlotte where they're going to ease him in. He's going to start coming off the bench because I believe they would have had Kendall Gill, Larry Johnson, Glenn Rice, like Adele Curry. So he would have had a team that he could have grown with as an expansion team in the East. They would have had no expectations of winning like the Lakers did because they got the Bulls, 96, 97, 88. I think, and then the way Kobe plays, he takes over. He still becomes a 30-point per game scorer. He's now in an East without Jordan and the Bulls. That team is going to the NBA final, I think, in year 5.
That's interesting.
In year 5, Kobe and the Lakers are for sure there. He gets to run that team and be the man from day one. With already, we know that he could win with lesser talent than Shaq. He won with Pau. You give him Larry Johnson, Del Curry, give Muggsy Bogues, Kendall Gill. I think we're good. I think we're good in Charlotte.
This is the same Charlotte that has no backing from ownership like he did with the Los Angeles Lakers, who Jerry West is his guy. And with Jerry West being his guy and bringing in Shaq and having Byron Scott and having those guys be his mentors, as opposed to the Charlotte Hornets, who, by the way, Tom, was already a playoff team. It wasn't like they was bums. They had Anthony Mason. They had Muggsy Bogues. In addition to Muggsy Bogues, they had Anthony Mason. All of those guys. And now I got this 18-year-old kid who, by the way, told everybody, I'm going to be the best player ever. I'm not going to be a good player. I'm going to be the best player ever. So
you're making my case. Thank you.
I'm absolutely poking holes in your case. And here's why I'm poking holes in your case. Because the Indiana Pacers, which is the complete opposite of that, were garbage. So Magic jumps on that crew, and they completely build that crew around him. There is no quite possibly he's going to jump on that crew and be the power forward. He's going to jump on that crew and place it. No, he's going to be the lead guard because they're awful. So he's going to be able to do it. He's going to be able to do whatever he wants. When he gets to Michigan, when he was in high school, he played the lead guard. Awesome. When he gets to Michigan State, plays the lead guard. Awesome. He gets to Indiana. They build that unit around him. And with them building that unit around him, he shows the great point guard that he is. And he's been a winner anywhere and everywhere that he's been. And on top of that, he's in the Eastern Conference. And with him being in the Eastern Conference, I think we're a lot better. I think Magic absolutely flourishes in Indiana more.
Okay, so just to make a note, so Tony, you stopped talking when you had a minute 10 left, and Chill, you stopped talking when you had a minute 48 left. So
have more time. Excellent.
So what I'm saying, both of you are leaving a lot left on the table. That's all I'm saying. So
okay.
Excellent. Yeah. So let me go back. So Kobe, like I said, I'll summarize. So Kobe goes to a playoff contending team where he's going to be allowed to grow like he was in LA. There's not going to be expectations for him to do anything. Now let's talk about Magic. Let me talk about the flip side of the coin and why everything he just told you is incorrect. Magic went to the Los Angeles Lakers, and the head coach when he was drafted was Jerry West. Now, Dr. Buss, who had just bought the team, had said to him and his dad, "You're going to be our lead guard." Jerry West said, "Ain't no way, ain't no how he's going to be our lead guard. He's going to be power forward, and he is going to be next to Kareem, and he's going to take some pressure off of Kareem and be a rebounding power forward. That's his role." Dr. Buss said, "Nope, not going to happen. I promised him he'd be a guard." Jerry West, out. I'm not going to be the coach. They then bring in another coach who says to them, "It doesn't matter what position you are, because we are going to play this kind of fast-paced offense where whoever gets the ball just goes with it." And if you look, Magic Johnson isn't even listed as the point guard for his first 5 seasons. He's listed as the shooting guard because they already have Norm Nixon. That he then gets hurt, and they bring in Paul Westhead. Paul Westhead says, "Nope, we're running what he called the system." And Magic had to run to a spot as the 2 guard, not the lead guard. The 2 guard had to run to a spot That becomes a huge kerfuffle. He says it's either him or me, and they fire Paul Westhead, and they elevate the assistant coach, Pat Riley. Pat Riley finally says, "Okay, you're our lead guard. You're our point guard." It took him 5 years to do that with the backing of ownership, who fired Laker legend, let him go, Jerry West, and then another coach who got hurt replaced him with another coach, and then fired that coach so that he could be the lead guard. In Indiana, that's not happening. In Indiana, that's not happening because the ownership is not going to bend their will to some kid who wants to be a point guard, because they have a point guard, they have a shooting guard, they have a couple of centers. What they don't have, I think Blue Edwards was their center at that time. What they don't have is a power forward, a 6'9" power forward. Perfect. That's your spot. And no one's going to tell us any different because he doesn't have the Dr. Buss fairy tale dream sequence to say, I'm going to let this guy do what no one has ever done in the history of basketball. Put a big man at point guard. So now what happens is he's a power forward. Being a power forward in the 80s in a slow tempo offense, he doesn't get the assists. He doesn't get the opportunities. He doesn't get to flash his big smile. He becomes miserable, disgruntled. He's probably out of there in 3 years.
Interesting that you mentioned all of that stuff, Tone. Well, he left out very, very interestingly enough, Jalen, he left out the fact that the Indiana Pacers were from the ABA. They were a gimmick. They were a gimmick team, which means that they were interested in trying anything. So when they draft Magic and they put Magic on their group, why wouldn't they try to draft? Wouldn't they try to put Magic at the lead guard spot? Because again, we came from the ABA and we just got to the NBA literally a year ago, 2 years ago. We just got there and we want to do anything and anything possible to sell tickets. And if we're doing that, putting Magic at the lead guard, this is a guy who was just in the national championship the year before at the lead guard spot. We're getting him on our team. How much better are we going to be as a franchise as opposed to this 17-year-old, by the way? This not 20 or 21-year-old, this 17-year-old kid that's getting on a group with a bunch of men that he's telling us, I am the best player. I'm going to be the best player ever. Meanwhile, we already got Kendall Gill here. Meanwhile, we already got Muggsy Bogues here. We already got Anthony Mason here. We already got Divac still here. Divac doesn't get traded.
Divac is in LA.
Divac's still in LA. That's correct. But we already have our group. As Alonzo Mourning actually is still there too. He doesn't move on until 96. That's when he actually moves on to Miami. So Alonzo Mourning is still there. So in the process of that, we are a playoff team. And we're a playoff team that's really good, that's building something. And Tone, can you remind the people here how 19 and 18-year-olds were viewed in 1995 and in 1996 when they came into the NBA? Can you tell everybody here? Actually, don't tell everybody. I'll let everybody know. They weren't very popular because this was an adult league, right? They weren't very popular. People did not like those kids. Go to school was the idea. Go to school. You don't need to be here. Kobe Bryant could have very well been ruined had he went to Charlotte. They could have possibly.
He was going into the same scenario as he went in with the Lakers. The Lakers had Shaq. The Lakers had Eddie Jones. The Lakers had Nick Van Exel.
He sat on the bench for 3 years, Tone. Don't leave that part out. He sat on the bench for 3 years.
That's right. He would have in Charlotte.
By the way,
it would have been the same thing in Charlotte. He would have been allowed to grow, and guess what? He would have impressed, and he would have been. Everyone in the East would have been like, "Oh, this is the heir apparent. This is the next Jordan." And he's here in the East. He's in Charlotte. Oh, close to where Jordan went to university at UNC. This is perfect. We're just going to transition right out of Mike into Kobe. And he is allowed to grow. In Indiana, they're so bad. There's no Johnny Davis is your best player, second best player as point guard. There's no Magic went to a team that had Norm Nixon, that had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the greatest player of all time at that point. It had they eventually got Michael Cooper, James Worthy. You think Indiana would have been bringing in guys like that? He would have been on a scrub squad, and he never would have been the player that he was. Versus Kobe doing almost the exact same thing, a good playoff team, and allows him to grow into his role as the best player in the NBA in what would become a weaker Eastern Conference, because after the Bulls, everybody was fleeing to the West to get away from Jordan and Bulls.
Interesting.
Perfect.
All right. So why don't we go what we say, like 30-second closing statements each? Are we going to do that? Why don't we do that?
Sure.
Yes,
cool.
absolutely.
Right. Yeah, Chill, why don't you go first?
Okay, so again, in closing, Magic Johnson going to a formal ABA team coming into the NBA, and they need as much popularity as they can possibly get. They get the starting point guard on the national championship team when basketball wasn't very popular. They get them on their crew in basketball country, Indiana. Magic Johnson, they build that unit around him. He ultimately flourishes, and he definitely becomes a great player playing for the Indiana Pacers. Meanwhile, Kobe Bryant moving to the Charlotte Hornets as a kid in an adult league that they don't really know what they're doing, because they're also an expansion team. They absolutely have no idea what they're doing, and they have no history with them. I don't think that he flourishes nearly as much as Magic does in Indiana.
All right.
Kobe goes to a team that absolutely an expansion team that knows what they're doing, because within a couple of years they were 500. Within 4 years they're in the playoffs. In those days, Charlotte actually, don't look at them today, they absolutely knew what they were doing. They allow him to grow because they're a good team. They have players at his position. He goes into a very similar role. Now, listen, Shaq isn't Alonzo Mourning, or Alonzo Mourning isn't Shaq, but they have a good center. They have a good shooting guard in Kendall Gill. Again, he's no Eddie Jones, but they have good players, Anthony Mason, etc., and veteran players. And those guys will groom him and let him grow. So there's no expectations, just like in LA. Versus Magic, who goes to an Indiana team that stinks, that doesn't have good players, that doesn't have the all-time leading scorer, that doesn't have a point guard in place already, that doesn't have a coach and an owner who basically will bend over backwards to do anything he needs to be successful. No, they're going to say, hey, this is how we do things, like 99% of the teams did back then, and they're going to force him into a role that he's not comfortable with, that he doesn't want to be with. And we already saw he did it in LA when he said it's either Paul Westhead or me. One of us has to go. Indiana says it ain't going to be you.
All right. So, we heard both of them give their case. So the prompt was, for those just joining, the prompt was whose career would have been impacted more if they were drafted to a different team. In Kobe's case, if he were drafted to Charlotte and stayed in Charlotte, and in Magic's case, if he were drafted to Indiana. So, Fluent, correct me if I'm wrong. Or Jalen and I just giving our takeaways from the debate, and
you tell us what you found and who you voted for. And because Ori's not here, I get to be the tiebreaker if you both are split.
We'll let the chat be the tiebreaker. That was a good one. That was a good one.
You like
both you guys, both of you guys made a lot of good points there. You talked about the teams they had around them. You talked about ownership, management. Both hit on it. I think both of you guys mentioned a lot of players. A lot of people in the chat won't even know, because a lot of people won't know a lot of players in the Indiana Pacers at that time. Like, I wouldn't know either, right? That's a lot. No one would. The Pacers, the ABA team.
You don't know Blue
These are names we know. They really are. We got to keep it real. We're not watching Indiana Pacers get from those times. I am going to edge this out, because I think he made, out of all the arguments made by the board, this was I think the most relevant and best argument as to why this player would have flourished as much. I'm going to edge it out to Chilltown in this one, because I don't think people realize how important Jerry West really was to Kobe's development in LA, and how much he kind of needed that versus the Charlotte organization. I just don't think it would work out in a similar situation. I think Kobe would have put up, a lot more points. And Kobe, hey, you put him in Charlotte, he might have climbed up that all-time points, rank, because he would have
been a bigger star. You're right.
Yeah, he would have. The stats might have been there, but the championships, the winning that have to go along with that to be as great.
It's not about rings. It's not about rings.
Not always, but sometimes a little bit. A little bit. I'm gonna give edge to Chilltown on this one.
Shocking.
You got Chris. What you got?
Yeah. Yep. Obviously, yeah. What Jalen said. A lot of great points on both ends. I certainly learned a good amount from both careers. I'm definitely more familiar with the beginning of Kobe's career than I am with Magic's. I'm 20. I'll be 27 years old in a couple months. So I definitely think that my knowledge, as far as it goes, for Magic's career, is more advanced than the average fan. But however, still, it's definitely not nearly as much as people my age. But that all said, I think I'm going to give the edge to Tony, actually, mainly because he's addressing the points of the fact that obviously with the thing with Magic is that obviously he was drafted into a situation where a lot of owners, the owners were bending over backwards for him. But meanwhile with Kobe, it would have been pretty similar. So obviously Shaq is the biggest equations, but outside of the Shaq, which I know that's a very big part of the formula. But But yeah, both sides made very good points, and it was very close. But yeah, but like I will give the edge to Tony there.
All right, so unfortunately, that means round one is a draw. So 10 seconds for the judges to get their notes together for round two. Give us 10 seconds.
Sports fans, Chill here.
And I'm Fluent.
We're bringing you all the Sports Fluent merch you need.
Tees, hoodies, hats, mugs, gear made for the conversation.
Just hit sportsfluent.com/merch.
Sportsfluent.com/merch. Get your call your mother t-shirt today.
I almost wore mine today, actually.
Get your girlfriend a white sweater for Valentine's Day.
Or
I wore this instead, but yeah.
What are you wearing? Can I see what are you wearing?
Oh, the old merch. Yeah, the old one.
Oh, is it the All-American Hoops one?
Yeah.
Nice. I'm wearing the Wilt didn't score 100 t-shirt that if it's not there, I will bring that back in because I don't know if that's one of the debate topics, but feel free to use that in the upcoming weeks.
There's got to be somebody alive who saw that game in person.
And it wasn't me, just so you know.
Yeah,
I was not around when that
happened. There has to be somebody somewhere in the States who was there, and has a story to tell.
Well, according to Tone, how many people were actually at that game, Tone? Like as of today?
Yeah, well, there was 4,000 at the game. There's 400,000 who said they were.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I thought it was like 400,000 people.
Not one of them sat there with a pen and paper writing down how many points Wilt scored. Let's be honest. All right, round two.
So, at first I was going to have you guys pick out the top duos of all time, which in my opinion are actually two Lakers duos. But since we just had a discussion about two Lakers, which would have been the same discussion, let's diversify a little bit. Let's do two of, in my opinion, the four best trios of all time. So, Chilton, I'm gonna have you debate on the side of Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman, and Fluent, I'm gonna have you debate on behalf of Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili.
Okay,
absolutely.
So I went first last time, so I guess you've got 3 minutes. I guess, Chill.
Yes, sir.
All yours.
So to start, the Chicago Bulls, as we all know. That thing started from the beginning with Jordan. Then they ended up getting John Paxson. They moved forward with John Paxson and Jordan, and they get Scottie Pippen. Then they end up getting Horace Grant in the same draft. On top of that, the next year they trade for Bill Cartwright. Then they get B.J. Armstrong, and then after that, they end up drafting Scott Williams, and then they get Cliff Livingston in free agency. They end up drafting Dennis Hobson. So we've built this unit over the course of time with these three, with this unit. And the three of those guys, which is Horace Grant, which is Michael Jordan, Horace Grant, Scottie Pippen, with these three guys at our core, our staple was defense, our staple was rebounding, our staple was Jordan being the guy to start. And then Phil Jackson comes in and implements the triangle. When he does that, now it's completely different because now everybody is involved and everybody flourishes. Well, come to find out, this is a little bit too much for Jordan, and Jordan just needed a break. So he decides to step off. Meanwhile, these guys still flourish, but what we do is we get a completely different unit. So when we get to 1995-96, when we get Dennis Rodman, who, by the way, is the league leading rebounder during that time and segues into that role perfectly, not just segues into that role perfectly, he segues into the triangle, which is very difficult, and he segues into it perfectly and does his role great. Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen are the only two guys on that group that were on the first three-peat that weren't on the second three-peat. Those are the only two guys. With that being said, with Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, and Dennis Rodman, I think that these three guys, everything that they did was conducive to winning. Jordan was at a point at 33 years old in his career where all it was about winning. I'm still the leading scorer. I'm still a bucket getter. I'm still a great defender. Dennis Rodman, I am still the best rebounder in the game. And I think that this group at that time, they understood exactly what it took to win. Then they understood exactly how to win, and they sacrificed for each other. Dennis Rodman, there was no misunderstanding about why I'm here. I'm a defender. I'm a rebounder. The first year that he got there, he was first team all defense, and he led the league in rebounding. He led the league in rebounding all 3 years that he was there. He was their top interior defender. Scottie Pippen also was the same guy who became the best all-around player in the game, and he understood exactly what his job was while he was there. Michael Jordan, we all knew who those guys were. In the three years that they were there, we had a 72 win team, we had a 69 win team, and we had a 62 win team. That's incredible for a team that's together with those guys at that age. with those guys at that age and guys who are fillers around them, and for them to win the NBA championship, but while also being a great regular season team, is pretty incredible for that group. And I think that they were absolutely fantastic, which would explain why they won the NBA championship as many times as they did.
Listen,
very good.
We done with the 90s. Let's be clear. We done with the 90s. We done with these old dudes. A bunch of old. Scottie Pippen only played 44 games in the 98 season. Okay, you know why they had 69 wins instead of 70 that second season after they won 72? Because Scottie Pippen tried to jack up a three and missed it, and the last game of the season. Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili are the perfect point guard, shooting guard, power forward / center combination, because they didn't only have to be great for 3 seasons. They were great for over a decade. Together for a decade, never winning less than 50 games in a season, going to 4 NBA finals, 3-1 in the finals. You had Tim Duncan, who's 20 plus points per game, 10 plus rebounds, an all defensive staple. Nobody in the history of the NBA has more first all team defensive teams than Tim Duncan. Okay, should be in your top 5, if not in your GOAT debate, Tim Duncan. You then pair him with the perfect match, Tony Parker, a super quick 20. At his peak, he was averaging 19-20 per game, 6 assists. In fact, he was a finals MVP. Was Rodman a finals MVP? No. Was Pippen a finals MVP? No. Tony Parker was. Then you have a guy in Manu Ginobili that everyone will tell you can debate is either top 10, top 15 shooting guard of all time, coming off the bench. Because that's what great trios do. They play their roles and they sacrifice. He could have been a starter on any team. No. He said, no. I want to do what's best for this team. I'm going to come off the bench. Another guy who was scoring 18, 19 points at his peak with another 4 assists. So now you're having a trio of guys in their prime, not at the end of their careers, in their prime, doing it for a length of time. Listen, anybody can have a 2-3 year stretch. Cool. These guys did it for a decade, and they did it in an era that was slower paced, more difficult, more talented, more skilled. That's what they did. You call LeBron James the greatest of all time, chill. They beat him multiple times in the finals, 2-1 against him in the finals, because that trio was the best trio that ever existed.
Sure. So with that being said,
wait, how much time do I have left?
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So to counter your point, Tone, because you actually made some really interesting points, but you fumbled at around the 5-yard line. So number one, Tim Duncan does not have the most first team all defensive knowledge. That would be Jordan, and that would be Kobe Bryant. So that's the same Michael Jordan who played on the Bulls with Scottie Pippen, who
I meant all defense, not first.
So with that also being said, there are teams, like you just said, there's plenty of guys that can have a run of 2 or 3 straight. Actually, no, it's not. It's only one team that did that. And that's the Bulls, that at that age went 3 straight. Nobody else did that at 36, 34, 35, 36 years old. Nobody else did that except for the Bulls. Nobody. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen was 32 years old. Dennis Rodman was 34 years old. Michael Jordan was 34 years old when they did that. So with that 32, Michael Jordan was 32 years old. Scottie Pippen was 30 years old. Dennis Rodman was 33 years old when they did that. And they did that for 3 years. So with that being said, nobody else was doing that. 3 straight years. That's number one. Number two, Tone, we also talking about a team that defensively, as good as this San Antonio team was, I got arguably the best defensive wing in the game in Scottie Pippen. I think I got the best defensive wing in the game, and I got the best rebounder in the game, and I got the best bucket getter in the game. And it's proven with everything that we're doing, we're winning countless times. Like you just said, Tone, you're actually arguing that they didn't win 70 games as opposed to 69 because Scottie Pippen missed a shot. Right? Not 50 games. That's almost 20 more games than what your San Antonio Spurs
couldn't even play 3 full seasons.
That's almost 20 games what your San Antonio Spurs were doing. On top of that being almost 20 games than what your San Antonio Spurs were doing when they were in the playoffs, 1996, mopped the floor with the Knicks in 5 games, smoked the Orlando Magic in 4 games, and then beat the and then beat the Seattle Supersonics, who, by the way, Tone, when you talked about Tony Parker being the Finals MVP, guess what? Dennis Rodman could have very well been the Finals MVP, averaging 16 rebounds and being the catalyst to that defense. So I know I know that's time for me. So
Is that time for him?
yeah. I'm just going with the thumb down.
Right. So again, all the Bulls have is that they were old. Scottie Pippen missed half the season in this third year. They only had to do it for 3 years. They did it in a weak expansion era. You just even said about Charlotte, but they also had the Toronto Raptors, the Vancouver Grizzlies, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Miami Heat. It was a bunch of expansion teams. The league was watered down by expansion. So yeah, to go on a short run when you have the best player in the world and probably the second best player in the world and an old Rodman who they had to go to Vegas to chase down. You didn't have those issues. You had Greg Popovich, who's probably the greatest coach of all time. You have Tim Duncan. You had Manu and Tony Parker. No issues, no problems. They are the highest winning percentage team in the history of the NBA for a reason. And again, yes, short spurt, 3 years. It was a good 3 years. I'm not debating that. It was a good 3 years. Could they have done it for 4? No. Could they have done it for 5? No. Why? Because Jordan had to quit again because he was tired. Because Pippen's back was giving out. Look what he did in Portland. Look what he did in Houston. What'd he do? Nothing. Because they were done. The longevity matters. Being able to be the greatest trio with the most wins over a decade makes you better than being a shot in the dark where, hey, we brought all these things together and took advantage of a weak league where we could just run rampant and win 72 games. Because why? Because we had 6 expansion teams that were less than 10 years old. We had the East. We ran the East. It was too easy. He was rebounding. What else did he do? He averaged 3 points per game.
That's all they needed him to do, though. They didn't need him to do anything else. If they needed him to do something else, he would have done that.
You know what's the most important part of basketball? Scoring. The team that scores the most points wins 100% of the game. I got 3 guys who are averaging 20 a game. I didn't need to be a ball hog. I didn't need one guy to only rebound and then have Scottie Pippen do everything else for me. We were a team, a trio, cohesion for a long period of time. I saw you put your hand up. I know that I'm
done. Yes, sir. So, I guess we'll do the same thing as we did last time. I guess we'll do closing statements again. We'll do the same thing as we did in reverse. So I gave it to Chill the last time. So So I guess Tone, I know you just went on a very beautiful tangent at the end there. But yeah, if you can go for 30 more seconds to go ahead.
I have 30 more seconds.
Yes, you do.
Excellent. So just to summarize it all. So because we're talking about which is the best trio, it's just like if you were saying who's the best player. We don't say Derrick Rose is better than LeBron because he might have had a 3-year stretch where he was better. No, we look at the totality of what they did. And just in reality, the Bulls were old. They were an expansion league. They took advantage of a weaker competition and they did it for a short period of time. Whereas the trio of Parker, Ginobili, and Duncan did it over a decade. Never had less than 50 wins. Won the same amount, 3 chips, and did it for longer. That's the biggest thing for me is that they did it for longer, and they did it. They were more. Each one of them did more than just one thing. Rodman only rebounded 3 points per game. So that's the case.
And that's all we need, actually. So if I think about these guys, 3 guys, I had the best scorer in the game. I had arguably the best all-around player in the game. I had the best rebounder in the game. And what I'm doing is I'm enhancing all the other guys around us. So Tony Kukoc is better because of us 3. Steve Kerr is better because of us 3. Phil Jackson is a better coach because of us 3. All of this stuff that we're doing is all the better because of us 3. Like we have opportunities to get second chance opportunities because Dennis Rodman is rebounding. We have an opportunity to blow teams out because we got the best scorer in the game. We don't have to worry about Scottie Pippen being a bucket getter because he can also be a bucket getter, but he can also do a number of different things. And because he can do a number of different things, that expanded everybody else's game, which would explain why they won 72 games and only had 10 losses and won the NBA championship. Why they had 69 wins and won the NBA championship, and why they had 62 wins and won the NBA championship, and nobody else had done that before they did that. So I think the trio of the Bulls with Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan and Dennis Rodman were better.
I'd like to apologize to the audience because I just realized I made a huge error by actually assigning Chilltown to the Bulls. I definitely should have assigned him to Tim Duncan, but that was
I don't understand.
yeah. So that was a mistake. Aaron
was.
in error in my end. That was my mistake. Yeah, it won't happen again. But
had to argue.
What,
Had to
we
argue
just,
against
I know.
him.
I don't mean to derail this. When does that episode come out? By the way.
Let's see. I did it last Friday. Yeah, I did
probably
it last
within a month, I would
Friday.
think, right? Yeah.
So it should be coming out. They told me to be coming out soon. So
What's the show? What's the show called?
Clash.
Clash. Haters versus
haters. Yeah.
Haters versus Tim Duncan.
And you're telling them you don't know how good Tim Duncan was. Okay, sorry.
Yes.
Go ahead, judges.
Well, another good battle. At the start, I don't go lie. I thought Fluent gonna run away. Fluent was jabbing, duking everything. He was laying out, the fit of the guys, like you mentioned, Manu, Tony, Tim Duncan, how they fit together. He was there. He was on an 80-yard run, and like Chill said, he was on the 5-yard line. The time stopped. I thought, damn, Chill definitely gonna get. I was like, this might be a real molly whopping ass cooking over here. Then Chilltown came back. He came back with the hold up correction. Fluent. It's Michael Jordan with the first team All-NBA, not Tim Duncan. It's these guys with the 69 wins, 62 wins championship. So, Chilltown was fighting back heavy there. That was a good one. That was definitely a good one. Both make great points. Both good trios. I will edge this one out, though, to my man Fluent on this one. I just think he's him talking about the fit of the guys. Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, point guard, shooting guard, power forward, and Tim Duncan. Them doing it for a long period of time. And I think it was a kind of a tough one for Chill, because I do think that Bulls trio is more like a 2.5. Respectfully, the Spurs are a trio. To me, Jordan, Pippen. After that, it's been a fall off. While with the Spurs trio, Fluent just saying all three give you 20 a night. All three, numbers. So I'm gonna give it to Fluent on this one.
You finally got it right, Jalen.
Okay, so. This was a style of debate where it's almost like a matter of you almost have to argue semantics, because who had the best dominant 3-year stretch of all time? It was obviously the Bulls. Who was better over the longer period of time? It was the Spurs. What do you value more? We've talked about what we value in our all-time debates, whether it be our rankings, whether it be ranking teams, whether it be ranking players. And then as far as it goes for who pointed out the better things, it's going to be the same results as last time with the split votes. I'm going to give the edge to Chilltown here, mainly just because as Jalen mentioned, it's moving along the margins. Like, so yeah, Fluent, like you had some great monologues there, but however, there was that mishap where you pointed out that Duncan does have the most all defensive third teams of all time. He's the most overall defensive teams, but that goes to your guy Kobe Bryant, who has 9. I didn't know that Jordan had 9 too, but I definitely know.
Yes, they both have.
Kobe has 9 overall first teams as well. So 50-50 split again. However, it does obviously we're going split, but it does look like I think the comment section is liking the Spurs a little more, but I don't know if they're doing it based by their own opinions or if they're doing it based on the debates. But it's tough to determine.
Mm-hmm.
Another split decision. Oh boy, okay. We'll give you 10 seconds, judges, to get your notes ready for round 3. You guys might want to, have a private chat and figure out who's going to take the next topic.
Sports fans, Chill here, and I'm Fluent. We're teaming up with BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. New players get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if their first bet misses. Download the BetMGM app.
All right,
hold up.
We got another question ready to go. Still a tie. We need one.
Wait, hold. Tone, that does not look like me. That is awful.
These are sample commercials.
I'm like, yo,
no, the actual sponsors know we ready. We got the time slotted for you.
Come through.
That doesn't look like you.
No, that does not look like me, sir.
A couple extra protein shakes, you're good to go.
No.
All right. Next up, this is another good one you guys can get into. Sticking with the Bulls here in that championship team. Let's take the 90s here, all right? We got the 90s. Bulls on the run. But let's say Michael Jordan doesn't exist. He goes and plays in the MLB from the start. He skips the NBA, goes to the MLB. We got another 2 guys in the 90s doing their thing. Clyde Drexler, Dominique Wilkins. But Clyde Drexler on the Bulls, how many games do they win in the season? How many championships? How successful are they? How does he play? Or Dominique Wilkins on the Bulls. How many champions do they win? How successful are they? How does how do they mesh in with that team? Who is more successful? Clyde versus Dominique. I'm gonna give Chill, Clyde Drexler. I'm gonna give Fluent, Dominique Wilkins. Let's get it cooking.
I love that. I love this. So I got Dominique. This is why I love this, because you don't know this. You don't know this, okay? Mm-hmm. Dominique is his favorite player.
Oh, you got to rock against him this time, baby.
We're putting Dominique on the Bulls. So he is in the Bulls in 1990 with Scottie Pippen, with B.J. Armstrong, with Bill Cartwright and Horace Grant. Okay. So what is Dominique known for? Dominique is known for his scoring. Now, he does a lot of other things. He's actually surprisingly good jump shooter. He was a good defender, but very athletic. We all know him as the human highlight reel. But what we fail to realize is he would have had somewhere in 6 to 8 scoring titles if it wasn't for Michael Jordan. Mm-hmm. So you slide him in for Michael Jordan's spot and Michael Jordan's not there. Not only is he sliding into that role of the focused scorer on the Bulls, he slides in perfectly into that role because he was 1-2 with Jordan most years anyways. Mm-hmm. And what did that Bulls team need from Jordan? His scoring. That's why they said, hey, we can take the ball out of your hands. We can defend over here. We got Horace Grant. We got Scottie Pippen, who can defend interior, exterior, etc. Later on with Rodman, as he made that case. Dominique Wilkins in Atlanta, his second best player that he played with was like Doc Rivers. So he was able to put up 30 a game and win some game, make it to the playoffs with, no offense, Doc Rivers. Mm-hmm. So you put him on that squad where he can just defend and be the same type of defender as Jordan, which was off ball, take chances, go for steals. Because I know I got Scotty there with me. I know I got Horace and some bigs behind me. Mm-hmm. That's exactly his perfect role. He's getting Pippen still facilitating the offense. He's bigger. He's stronger than Jordan. So you give him all those pieces around him. He's scoring 35 a night, and that team's still winning championships. Yep. That's the absolute perfect scenario for Dominique Wilkins. This team doesn't miss a beat. You put Dominique Wilkins in there, they win the same 6 championships.
I think it's interesting.
He doesn't retire. He doesn't even retire and go play baseball. They probably win 8.
I think it's interesting you mentioned that, Tone, that if you take him out. Meanwhile, Clyde Drexler is actually taking teams to the NBA championship. He's taking Terry Porter to the NBA championship. He's taking Kevin Duckworth to the NBA championship. He's taking Buck Williams to the NBA championship. And they're losing to the Bulls, which is a better team. But now what he's going to do is he's going to segue into that 2-guard role, which, by the way, Tone, when you're talking about being a bucket getter, Clyde Drexler averaged 24 a game for, I think, 6 years. In addition to him being a bucket getter, when he first came into the league, he played the lead guard. In fact, he made the all-star team as a lead guard. So I can also, with that triangle offense being what it is, I can also be a facilitator because that's very much my game. I can also be a facilitator. And I don't know if you know this, Tone, but Clyde Drexler is the only player in NBA history when he retired to retire top 10 all-time in steals and not make the all-league defensive team. So he was serious on the defensive side of the basketball. He played in the passing lane. He also was a one-on-one defender. He actually could rebound as a big guard, which was very much what the Chicago Bulls system was. So if I got a big guard at 6'7", I got another big wing at 6'8", I got Horace Grant. In addition to having Horace Grant, I got B.J. Armstrong, and I all these other guys. He isn't the scorer that Jordan is. I'm not going to argue that point, but I got all the other stuff that I'm looking for within this offense and within this defense with Clyde Drexler. I think that this Bulls team, at least they win, because Jordan doesn't exist. I think they win at least one. At least 1 or 2 championships with Clyde Drexler in that lineup, because Clyde Drexler was so instrumental in being a leader, such a great transition player, a knockdown jump shooter, could shoot the 3 also, one of the best transition players in the NBA, which is what the Chicago Bulls offense was predicated on, because a lot of their offense was predicated on them getting turnovers and speeding up the game. I mean, that was perfect for who Clyde Drexler was, and he can handle it with the best of them, get out in an open floor, and he wasn't a selfish player at all, so I never had to worry about him being a ball hog or anything of that nature. So I think that they would have been great with Clyde Drexler.
It's interesting you bring up that Clyde Drexler took his team to the finals twice, and you mentioned lost both times, let's be honest. And he lost both times, and he didn't just carry his team. It's not like he was the offensive juggernaut. That was a good Portland Trailblazers team, and they played team ball. What the Bulls needed and what we saw from Michael Jordan was they needed a guy who could score and who could score in bunches. That's how the team was built. So you bring in Clyde Drexler, who isn't the scorer of Dominique. You say he could shoot threes. You know what? Dominique shot them better. You need a guy who can knock down free throws. Guess who was better? Dominique. What, much like Jordan, almost the same, I think, pretty close to percentages of Jordan. So if you bring in Dominique, you have a guy who rebounds the ball better than Jordan did, who scores the ball as good as Jordan did. And we're not comparing him to Jordan, we're comparing him to Drexler. So he rebounds the ball better, he shoots three better, he shoots free throws better, and he scores more. So that's an easy transition because you're taking a guy who does all those things already that who he's replacing is doing, versus if you're putting in Clyde, now the team has to change because, well, he wants to be the lead guard. Well, that's Pippen's role. What's Pippen going to do? Is Pippen going to be better if he's off ball, not facilitating? No, we know that'll make him worse. Can Clyde play in that triangle offense? Don't know. Can he score like Jordan? Cannot. And so now you're going to have to change the roles of everybody else to fit in a player who might be the same namesake position as shooting guard, but his style of play doesn't fit into it. Whereas with Dominique, he slides right in. Nobody changes. Horace still does what he does. BJ does what he does. Scotty does what he does. Cartwright does what he does. All the other guys coming off the bench, all their roles stay the same. And that's the difference when we say who would be a better fit and how would the Bulls do with those guys is Clyde Drexler's a great player, but Dominique is what that team would have needed to continue their success without having to change a thing.
Well, you just actually made my argument for Drex being better in that role off the strength that Drex was the distributor. Drex was the more complete player in that triangle offense. Dominique Wilkins was the go-getter. Dominique Wilkins was the bucket getter. Dominique Wilkins was the one-on-one guy. Dominique Wilkins was the guy who we were looking for in transition. He was the one who we were isolating for. Well, we've never seen Dominique Wilkins be a guy who's operating in the triangle where he's got to move off the ball, where he's got to play off the basketball. We've never seen that with him. Drex, on the other hand, we actually have seen that with him. We've seen him play off of Terry Porter. We've seen him play with Buck Williams. We've seen him play with those other guys. And in addition to him playing with those other guys, we've seen him play in transition. And we've seen him play defense and speed up the game and be as effective as he can possibly be in a team setting. Like Dominique Wilkins, the whole thing was centered around him. Dominique Wilkins doesn't know how to operate in a system where there's a lot of ball movement, there's a lot of action, and I'm playing in the triangle. He doesn't know how to operate on that. He's an isolation one-on-one guy who not as skilled nearly enough. He's not as skilled as guys like Drex, as Jordan, where he's got to pass out of the triangle, where he's got to go to his weak hand, where he's got to shoot over guys, where he's got to look for guys who have better looks than him. Even though Dominique Wilkins could pass, Drex actually was doing that. And Drex was doing that off the strength of him being implemented in an offense where he was the point guard. So he had to be the distributor when he was in Portland. And when he was able to move over to the two guard, he actually understood how to play off the basketball and how to get other guys involved and know when to shoot and know when to score and be aggressive. And then when we get to the defensive side of the ball, he was great in the passing lane. In addition to being great in the passing lane, him being 6'7", he was so good as a versatile defender, which is something that was fantastic for the Chicago Bulls, playing alongside Scottie Pippen, where I can shoot gaps faster. Not only can I shoot gaps faster, I can be a lot more aggressive because I got a guy on the wing like Scottie Pippen, and I got a glass cleaning rebounder behind me like Horace Grant. So we were much better. We would be much better with Drex as an all-around player.
Do you have our final 30 seconds? Is that what we got now?
Yes. Yeah. You go first. 30 seconds.
Okay. All right. You absolutely. It's so funny. You made my case. You said he's an ISO player. That was Jordan. Couldn't go to his offhand very well. That was Jordan. Literally, Dominique Wilkins would play the Michael Jordan role because he's not the facilitator. That's the exact point. Dominique would be able to get more steals because he could cheat more because he wasn't able to do it in Atlanta because he had nobody with him to allow him to do it. So you got a guy who's bigger, stronger, and more athletic than Clyde Drexler, who shoots the ball better than Clyde Drexler, who can now jump the lanes, get more steals, can score in isolation. When the triangle breaks down, what was the problem with the triangle? Why did it work? Because the only time it works was when you had Jordan and when you had Kobe. Why is that? Because when it breaks down with 5 seconds left on the clock, you give it to Jordan, you give it to Kobe, and they go ISO and they get you a bucket. Clyde can't do that. He can't save them. His role would take away from what Pippen does. You now make the team worse with Clyde Drexler because he does the Scottie Pippen role. That doesn't mean that, again, all-around player, great, except you already got that guy. So it brings it down. Whereas, again, I'll reiterate the point. ISO, scorer, bucket getter, that's what Jordan was for that team. That's why they were successful. That's who Dominique Wilkins is. It's the perfect fit. I think with 7 chips, maybe 8.
With that triangle system, I think that it was so advanced and so much catered to the distributor, to the all-around player, that a guy like Clyde Drexler would have flourished in it off the strength of, we just seen what happened when you took Jordan out of the lineup. This team won 55 games. Now you add Clyde Drexler to that group with Scottie Pippen, with Horace Grant, with BJ Armstrong, a knockdown shooter like that, a knockdown shooter like John Paxson, with a guy like Clyde Drexler who can facilitate and who can create shots for these guys, unlike what Dominique Wilkins could do. Dominique Wilkins was more of a bucket getter. If I got a guy like that who can pass, who can operate in the triangle, who can dive to the rim, who can get out in transition because our defense is so good, Clyde Drexler makes our offense and our defense in the triangle system so much better. And as good as we are, we would be even better with Drex.
He's redundant.
All right. Fiery matchup as always. Loved hearing you for sure. Jay, you went first the past couple times. You want to go again?
Another good one. This is a close one too. I think both made good points. Fluent, he would play the Michael Jordan role more to a T. Him being the scorer, primary scorer, offense breakdown, he could score. And then Chilltown, coming in talking about Clyde Drexler, the overall game of him being a better fit in the triangle offense. That was a good point. I do think that's true to him being a better fit in that triangle offense, being a distributor passer he is, along with the scoring. In the end, I will say that this one again, because it was close. The one stat I think won it for this individual, that finished top 10 in steals in his career and not make it all NBA defensive team. Chilltown with that stat, bringing up Clyde's defense, and how he can play that defensive role, which I think Fluent stayed away from that just because he understands, the weakness of Dominique Wilkins was his defense. I'm edging to Chill on that one. I just think that defensive stat and him talking about the defense that Clyde brings, that'll be the edge on that one for me.
Can't have people who don't know hoops be judges.
Dang. We're speaking facts, baby.
All right. So, again, great stuff as always. Both sides gave great points. Fluent's focused more on the side of how Dominique's style play was more similar to Jordan's and how successful it was there. Chill focused more on being able to diversify the game more. And while the system itself was great, and that's why Jordan was able to elevate their game to that level. At the end of the day, it was because of Michael Jordan over the system. And I think that Clyde Drexler would have done more in a system, and they would have been able to make better adjustments to it when things would have gone wrong, which things would have gone wrong more with either Dominique or Clyde than they would have with Jordan. So because of that, I'm going to give the edge to Chilltown here.
Another one.
Chilltown wins the first week.
You guys are nuts. You guys are nuts.
First of all, Tone, they made me argue against Neek. You killing me over here. You taking years off my life making me argue against Neek over here.
Maybe that's why you knew his weaknesses.
Damn, you killing me. I gotta argue against Neek. Oh my goodness.
You guys just all picked them adjusting and playing a different way than they won them 6 chips versus playing the same way as won them 6 chips.
That's why. It's because it was Jordan.
The defense and him, bringing up and kind of explaining how he would better fit.
You know what happens if you don't have a Kobe or a Jordan or a Neek who can score in ISO
or
in the last or a Neek, in the triangle offense, it falls apart. That's why it's never worked anywhere else. You said that last one didn't look like you. Does this look like you?
Drink water and call your mother. When was the last time you called your mother?
Nice.
How was that one?
So it looks like a character from the Proud Family. Oh man,
I can't believe it. I dispute the outcome. I am not happy with this.
File a protest, recount.
I'm gonna. Where's Ori B? He would have knocked some sense into these people. Jay, as always, a pleasure debating you. Final. We got 6 minutes for any final thoughts, opinions, ideas, pretty much anything you guys want to talk about. We have 6 minutes.
Just so you know,
Jay-
the Cavs are up 30 on your Lakers right now.
Yeah,
Tom.
it's ridiculous.
Yes, they're
Wow.
up 30 right now on your Lakers. And-
Reeves is playing, right?
No, Reeves is not.
No, Reeves is not playing.
playing. Luka
Yeah.
came
No,
back
I
from
thought-
that injury, but
I thought he was. I know yesterday they said he was available. So yeah, I guess he's playing actually.
let me. Lakers didn't have him.
Well, let me tell you this. LeBron will be a Cav in his final season next year. How about that? You heard it here first.
Ooh,
I'm not mad at that. Farewell tour with the Cavs.
Tone and I actually had this conversation already. I ain't buying it one bit. There's no reason for me to go back there. None whatsoever. Everything that I needed to do, I already did it. There's no reason for me to go back.
The only reason I think that would stop him is that they have a house family established in LA. Like I don't know if the wife wants to go back to Cleveland. You know what I mean? I think at this point,
just for 1 year though, maybe just for 1 year.
I mean,
No.
hey, that's a year could be a long time. Leaving LA for Cleveland.
We already did that, Jalen. Jay, we already did
why
that.
is Yeah, that's true.
We already been down that block. In fact, not
Yeah.
only did we already do that, we left Miami. I let you talk me into going back there after leaving Miami. Now I'm gonna let you talk me into going back there after leaving Los Angeles. And we've been here for almost 10 years. No,
He'll stay with the Lakers. They'll give him a good farewell tour, and they'll make sure he gets a statue when he's retired there. So he'll have a statue in 3 places.
You got to figure it out, man.
There's no excuse for LeBron going 3 of 10 in Cleveland other than he wants to go play there.
I mean, he's on my fantasy team too. So look, I wish he did better.
If he's on your fantasy team, you're in trouble because he went 3 of 10, 3 rebounds, 5 assists.
Yeah, there's a rough night.
And his typical 6 turnovers.
I've been losing turnovers all year. It makes all sense, but it'd be like that. What are you gonna do? But other sports news, I don't know. We have a couple minutes. This Bill Belichick, not Hall of Fame thing, is like the biggest. Like we've had snubs of players, but this is the most ridiculous, out of line. Like there's 0 sense to him not being a first ballot Hall of Fame coach.
It goes to my point that the Hall of Fame in every sport is stupid. Nobody knows what the hell they're doing. We should abolish it, blow it up, and start over. They're retiring everybody's damn number. The wrong people get into the Hall of Fame, and the right people are. Just think about it. We live in a world where Joe Namath and Tracy McGrady are first ballot Hall of Famers.
Dominique Wilkins was not, by the way.
Hold on. And Barry Bonds and Bill Belichick aren't in the Hall of Fame.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
I'd
say Barry's the greatest based on.
Fluent. If it was your choice, only Magic and Kobe would be in the Hall of Fame.
Yes,
based on
let's
your
be clear.
So, like,
criteria. Let's be clear about that.
Kareem.
The Yale and Stanford.
Would you say like a minimum? Would the minimum be like you have to have a minimum 5 All NBA teams as a minimum? Like, would you just have like a minimum score or accolade thing to get in?
Well, in order for us to do that, Jalen, in order for us to do that, what we'd have to do is we'd have to now classify it as the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame. Like, it's not just the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Yep.
So it's now the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame. So now that's a different criteria, right? So now it's the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame. Now we can put on there, okay, in order for you to get in here, this is what you have. Now we have, Tone, to your point, because everybody that gets into Stanford, everybody that gets into Yale ain't the same. There's plenty of people who get into Yale that aren't up of the upper echelon. So with that being said, there's going to be some people who get in who aren't as smart, but they still are ridiculously smart. Let's be clear on that part, because I know what your standards are when it comes to the Hall of Fame, Tone. So with that being said, I think that if we're going to do the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame, all pros, league MVPs, all league defensive teams, championships, how long you played, all of that stuff should matter.
100%. I think NBA needs its own Hall of Fame too. I think this whole
it's the only sport that doesn't have it.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why they're keeping
hockey has it, baseball has it, football has it. It's swimming has it.
I'll give hockey credit. You follow it. I think hockey has the best Hall of Fame for all the sports that I watch. Like hockey is the best job of getting the right guys in, and they make a very good distinction of Hall of very good and Hall of Fame. Like they're very like, all right, this guy, and like everyone really agrees. Like we don't have these snub conversations in hockey talks. Well,
let's be clear, Chris. If Bill Belichick is in the first ballot Hall of Fame, nobody is.
No, 100%. No,
line them up. Line them all up. Tom Brady ain't getting in the Hall of Fame in first ballot. He's not.
Tony Dungy is a first ballot Hall of Famer.
That's what I don't get though. But like Bill Belichick doesn't have any scandals. I was like, wait, there's a scandal I missed?
Spygate. And
Okay, but you think I mean that's true though. Spygate. But like, do you think that's what held him back?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what everybody said.
I definitely.
I mean, if that's the standard, then Tom Brady can't be first ballot. If that's the standard, if that's the reason, those state voters
He
can't,
was
right?
part of that too.
That's what I'm
Exactly.
saying. You can't put Tom Brady in for Spygate. I'll be interested to see. Maybe they don't. Maybe the voters.
Well, like it's also it also depends because he's also nice to the media now. Like like David Ortiz tested positive for steroids, but meanwhile he got voted in first ballot. Roger Clemens and Mary Bonds, they weren't so nice to the media. So
this is
so like it's good. That's the reason why it's just so ass backwards. Not even funny.
Tone, the all-time leading rebounder in NBA history is not in the Hall of Fame. The all-time rushing leader in NFL history is not in the Hall of Fame. I'm going to crash my car into a telephone pole. I can't handle it. I can't. No, it's going to drive me crazy.
Oh, you're saying if that happened?
That's what's going. That's what Barry Bonds not being in the Hall of Fame is. That's what Barry Bonds not being in the Hall of Fame is. That's what Roger Clemens not being in the Hall of Fame is. That's what Bill Belichick not being in the Hall of Fame is. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all over the world, we appreciate having you. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. This is where we are. This is where you can find us. We will see you guys soon. Until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. When's the last time you talked to your mother? Call your mother. We'll see you guys soon. But until then, take it light.
Gonna do it for tonight. Thanks for hanging with us on Fluent versus Chill versus Everyone. Show some love for the conversation. Hit that like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss a tip-off. And big shout out to the partners who keep this show rolling: Sports Fluent, Chilltown Hoops, All American Hoops, Hoop Social, and Jalen Carter Music. I'm Vegas Stripe.